In this video, we will only discuss the different types of welding methods. In the upcoming videos in the playlist, we will explain the related theory and how to model them in Abaqus CAE. Stay tuned.
Generally, we have two methods of welding: fusion welding and non-fusion welding. Fusion welding uses heat to melt two or more materials to join them. This process may or may not need to use a filler material. Non-fusion welding uses high pressure or, in some cases, heat to join materials. In this process, materials won't melt, but they may be heated to an elevated temperature. Also, no filler is usually used in this process. Now let's see the different methods of fusion welding. First, we have electron beam welding, or EBW. This method is based on the electron's kinetic energy that is suitable for any material with any thickness. However, this method is an expensive one. Here you can see the mechanism of this method and its apparatus. Note that we are not going to explain each method and its mechanism in detail, because our package will cover simulation techniques. Now let's watch this video together to better understand it and see it in action. The second method is laser beam welding, or LBW. It uses a laser beam and is proper for narrow and deep welds. The method doesn't use any filler. Here you can see the mechanism of this method and the different parts of its apparatus. Let's watch another video together to see this method in the real world and its difference from the EBW method. The third method is arc welding, or AW. It is the most important and widely used method. It uses the electric arc to create enough heat to melt the parts and bond them. This method is categorized in 7 ways according to the electrode used: SMAW, submerged arc welding, FCAW or FCA, CAW, TIG welding, GMAW, and PAW. You can see examples of arc welding in these two pictures. Now let's watch this video created by one of the producers of the arc welding apparatus. Here you can see the mechanism of other ways of arc welding. As we mentioned before, we just intend to introduce these methods in this package. If you are interested, you can search for details of each one and enjoy your findings. Now let's explain the different methods of non-fusion welding. First, let's introduce friction stir welding, or FSW. The method is a solid-state joining process. The heat will be generated by friction between a non-consumable rotating tool and the workpiece to create a softened region and bond the pieces. Let's watch this video to better understand this method. The second method is explosive welding, or EW. Like the FSW method, this one is also a solid-state welding process. Also, it has a great potential for joining dissimilar materials. It uses high energy rate deformation to join metal plates. The pressure caused by the explosion will bond the plates. Let's watch this video to better understand this method. The third method is ultrasonic welding, or UW. It is an industrial process that uses high-frequency ultrasonic acoustic vibrations to create a solid-state weld to join the workpieces being held together under pressure. This method is used for plastics and metals, especially for joining dissimilar materials. There is no need for connective bolts, nails, soldering materials, or adhesives to bind the pieces together in this method. You can see the mechanism of the apparatus used in this method here. Now let's watch a video about this method. The next method is rolling welding. This one is used to connect metal sheets. In this method, we need to first clean the surface of 2 or more sheets. Then pile the sheets together and pass them through the rolls unit. Sufficient deformation occurs to weld the sheets. The fourth method is resistance welding, or RW, and it is the most widely used. This method uses heat caused by the application of electric current and mechanical pressure simultaneously to form a great bond. It is done at high speed and doesn't use welding wire. This method is done in 4 ways: resistance spot welding, resistance seam welding, resistance projection welding, and electroslag welding. You can see a practical example in the picture here, which is a resistance spot welding. Also, this schematic picture is showing how the method works. Now let's watch this video to see this method in the real world. Next, let's categorize all methods we have learned in a table. In this table, you will see the fusion and non-fusion methods, and see which one uses heat or pressure or both simultaneously, all at one glance.
In the next video of this playlist, we will discuss the elements and methods for simulating various welding techniques in finite element software such as Abaqus. So, stay tuned.